Hi everyone, this is Mike Matsuno. This is my dad, Miyuki Matsuno. He's a little bit sleepy, but we're sitting here, in front of the East Manoa Lions banner. The East Manoa Lions was one of the two clubs in Manoa Valley that merged together a couple of years ago, and today they have one club called the Manoa Lions Club. But the East Manoa Lions is where my dad was, and recently we had a get-together of all the older members and some of the last members who are part of the East Manoa Lions. But in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the history and how it evolved and what the East Manoa Lions meant to Manoa Valley. Be right back. How do you feel?
Loud.
Okay. You ready for today's event? Huh? No? Okay. Are you excited?
No way.
See all your old friends? The last get-together was 2 years ago. You know, some people have passed away since then, so this might be the last hurrah for many, including you. What do you think? Could be. Okay, so make the most of it. Enjoy yourself. Okay?
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Mike and this is my dad, Miyuki Matsuno. He's a bit sleepy. He just ate lunch and we're here at his care home in Kalakaua Gardens. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the East Manoa Lions today because I was 8 years old when the club started back in 1966. And he took me all around to the various activities and projects and things. And so I saw a small part of what they actually did. And people don't realize how valuable the Lions Club was or is to all parts of the island or anywhere in the world, whether it's internationally in Japan or whether it's here in Hawaii. But my dad was a strong, he was a really, really strong member for the East Manoa Lions Club. And as he tells me some of the history that they started back in 1966, they only had about 6 to 10 people that originally started. I think it was Jimmy Takada, Masaka Misato, and K-Fat, Mr. Kiyoshi Hiramatsu. And they were the ones who started the club. And from there, they were able to gather, I think he had mentioned 50 charter members. And that was the original start. That was, 52 years ago. Of course, as time went on, new members joined, some quit, But what always really is very, in my memory, is what the East Manoa Lions Club, and I'm sure the Waiole Lions Club did the same. They're the two clubs in Manoa, is that they did so much service for the community. They were painting the Japanese school. They were doing the Easter egg hunt in Manoa Valley. They were doing the Santa Claus parade, which they still do. The Manoa Lions still do until this day. They had projects and they had money making, like they did huli huli chicken. They were selling poinsettias. They were doing various things to help fund their projects. But what always inspired me was, my generation, it wasn't into like service. Very few people, there were some of course, but very few people were into the idea of community service like my dad's generation. And sometimes he talks about it, but he talks about how their generation was probably the greatest generation, and I do agree. Is at that time while they were raising their children, running their businesses or working, they had the same responsibilities that we have today, but they also joined the Lions Club at a younger age, usually maybe 30s, 40s, and throughout that time they were busy, but they continued to do everything. And it was kind of a selfless giving, And so about, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, I had gone to one of the East Manoa Lions Club meetings. By then, there were really only about maybe 10, kind of active members. There were only maybe 5 charter members left. And, it was kind of like slowly declining, and that's where we tried to get, well, my dad tried to get new people. We got Garrett Ogawa from my class, and Garrett helped get a lot more people into the club. But again, they were kind of truncated because there were the older gentlemen, the old guard. There was few at the younger level, and then there was kind of a gap, a space, until maybe Garrett Ogawa came along. So, and he's class of '76, so it's not, we're not that young. What I would like to emphasize is that this idea of community, this idea of selfless giving, was very, very powerful in their generation. What I saw when I was 8 years old, I saw them, not only what were they doing service projects for the Valley, but within the Lions Club. They had like their Makule softball league. They had their own golf, their golf team, or their golf tournaments or club that they used to go out to. They had Christmas parties, and they had summer picnics for us, the kids. So a lot of the wives, of course, they called them lionesses, were also involved. So what you saw was the not only the male lions, but the female, the spouses would come out, and then or bring their children, and then that's who we would play with, or we'd be going to school with. So it really established a core of the community, and that's why it's really kind of, when I saw last week Saturday, we had a reunion. Not we, but we helped. They had a reunion of the old East Manoa Lions Club members. The old guard all came back. They're 70, 80. Mr. Jackie too is 93. It was his birthday actually that we had the reunion on here at Maple Gardens, the Chinese restaurant. And 36 people came. I think there were maybe 17 or 18 members. The rest were lionesses or spouses of Lions members who had passed away. And it was really great to see Mrs. Sumida and Mrs. Okumura come out, even after their spouses passed away. But that shows you the tight-knit group that the East Manoa Lions had. And that, for me, has always been something really, really special. And I never joined the Lions Club because I could never emulate or follow what they did. It was really something I guess it's just like a kind of selfless giving, a kind of unconditional giving where you really didn't expect anything back. And I think their generation really encapsulates or emulates what that is. I think our generation already, not everyone, but many, are more not spoiled, but it became more about self-interest, about our own family, or about our kids' sports, or about, it was more about our life, not so much the greater good, like the community. And I think that's what their generation really, really demonstrated. And to me, it was very powerful. And that's why my sister Susan, my brother-in-law Patrick, and I, we helped to put on this reunion, was because no one recognized the true, the old guard, these lions who now are, in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they don't, they're no longer really, they're not active anymore in the Lions Club. A few are, but the gift they gave to all of us in Manoa Valley, and and they're like the unsung heroes, I guess, of building a community in a valley. And why Manoa became such a great valley or great community was because of the East Manoa Lions and the Waiole Lions Club also. They were involved with the Little League, they were involved in the schools, they were involved in the community. Their members were setting up like the girls softball or the girls volleyball or the guys basketball, flag football. Thanks to them, we have what we do in Manoa. So I just wanted to say thank you from all of us younger people from Manoa, who after their legacy, we have the fruits of what they have done. and also to the new Manoa Lions Club, who of the combination who were merged between Waiole and East Manoa. We want to say, we know and we're very appreciative of all you do, and thank you. And now, the new Manoa Lions Club has female and male, and they're a younger generation. They're not, the old guard has moved on. You still have some of the younger, older Lions from East Manoa who continue. I saw them at the many of them at the reunion this last week Saturday. Mr. Sukihara, Mr. Agena, Mr. Steve Wong, Craig Sakanashi, Howard, Yoshiura, excuse me. I think, sorry, some of them were the first time I met, so I don't remember everyone's name that well. We're here at the Kalakaua Gardens. This is his room here. My dad is actually very active, and so don't let him fool you by him sleeping right now. We take him to painting. He goes to the rehab. They have the painting. He paints many of these on his wall. He has many of these paintings that he did. He goes to his Zippies to meet his friends. Today we went to meet the engineers group. Wednesdays he goes to meet his old, Mr. Harada, Mr. Oki, and the working people from the airport. So he stays quite active. He likes to go to church when he gets a ride. And so, he's still doing everything that he can within the situation. He does have Parkinson's, and so it makes him difficult for him to walk and also to speak. So if you talk to him, it's hard for him to, he wants to talk, but he's not able to. You can barely hear him. You have to listen very carefully. And also when he eats, it takes him a long time to eat. So Parkinson's has affected, his life, but he is here at the care home. And the reason is because he was falling a lot, and he needed to have, someone around to kind of watch, and staying at home by himself wasn't a possibility. I want to thank all those people who attended the reunion recently. We want to thank Garrett for lending or maybe giving us the old East Manoa banner, which I hope to display here in his room. And if the Lions or Waiole or Manoa or East Manoa ever need it again, they can just come and ask for it. But for my dad, it was the best years of his life, I believe. He made the best friends. He made the best connections. He had the most fun. And he loved the Lions, It was really hard to see the East Manoa Lions as they started to decline in membership. More people were quitting. And, it's like churches these days. It was hard to keep the number of memberships up, And the young people, it was a different generation, so they had to kind of recruit and market differently, which I don't think they really did. Or maybe they tried, but they weren't able to get the base that they needed. But again, I guess things evolve, and now the new Manoa Lions Club is still doing well. There are several of the older members of East Manoa that are still part of the Manoa Lions. Mr. Jack Ito, he's 93. He's still part of that. My dad, although he's a lifetime Lions member, he's no longer able to go to meetings and things. But anyway, thanks for listening, and I'm sorry if this was long. I just wanted to make a short tribute to the East Manoa Lions Club and all Lions Club, the Waiole and all Lions Club on this island and in the world, of what they do for the community, the unsung heroes who people don't realize, and their spouses, whether it's male or husbands or wives now, that actually help support their spouse who are Lions, and the kids and the children who also partake in all the different activities and help, and volunteership, projects, attending the parades and things. It's really admirable, and people don't realize all the work and time that goes into it. But yes, although he's sleeping, Dad, you're the greatest generation, right? The greatest generation. Come, look. I know he's tired. Tell everyone, do you believe you're from the greatest generation? That was a yes. He had told me before he wanted to thank all of you, and that he really had the best time of his life when he was a Lion, and that really, would shape his life and determine what he would want to do. And the model of we serve, that is great, and he showed me and demonstrated to me what And that's why I've always felt I couldn't be a Lion, because I could never follow in his footsteps and do all he did for the for the community, for our family, of course, also. So thanks, Dad, and thanks all of you, East Manoa Lions and Lionesses and children. This is Mike Matsuno signing off here from Mickey Matsuno's room in Kalakaua Gardens. Thanks for listening.